Alrighty guys, kia ora and welcome in. This is Kai Time episode 7. It's kind of doubling as the official preview show for Winterlude Dota coming up this weekend. Very excited to be covering that exclusively for Kai Studios. Remember, you can check it out. The first game is 11 a.m. in the morning on Saturday the 23rd of July. So this coming Saturday, only a few days away now. Make sure you join us for the day. Going to get a full day's action in. I believe at last check, 15 teams have signed up, so we're almost at that 16 team limit. The best of the best here in the Christchurch region, and actually in New Zealand. I know there are a bunch of players coming from different regions of the country down to Christchurch just to play the tournament, which is cool, which is awesome. It's going to be a super fun day. If you're watching this and you're not already playing in the tournament, there's still one spot left. If you're not keen to play, make sure you get down and watch and check out as well. There's going to be a lot of awesome action happening all day. Come and say hi to me, come and say hi to my producer Matt, come and say hi to the teams. They're going to be down there. At the moment, if you're watching this and you go, hey, I would like to sorry, as I sorry, I completely lost my train of thought, but I'll continue off with to thank the sponsors first and foremost for making this event possible. At the moment, we've got Churney Coffee, Dragon PC, along with obviously CompSoc and UCGG, who are doing joint ownership and joint running as it this year as well. All very, very exciting. We, again, have a lot of top teams. We'll get into just which teams are competing and which teams are looking quite strong in a moment. But if you are watching in chat at the moment, have any thoughts about the weekend, make sure you feel free to drop into the TeamSpeak below. The TeamSpeak, just jump in and we can have a chat to you. If you've got individual thoughts you want to comment, feel free to do that as well. It's pretty breezy, it's pretty easy this episode of Kai Time, but we will crack into it now. So Winterlude Dota, this is for those who aren't aware, this is the 5th iteration of the UC LAN. It's kind of undergone a bit of change in terms of who's running it and what structure it is. They wanted to get this tournament done, what's the date now? About 3 months ago actually was the ideal tournament date. They couldn't get that, they couldn't lock it down for that date. So as a consequence, they have managed to push it through till now. Winterlude, of course, being part of the UCSA, the Student Association here at Canterbury University, their Winterlude Festival, which means that we've got awesome coverage in the student magazine, Canter, a whole bunch of other places, really cool stuff. But there is a lot more hype, I think, around this because it's going to be a lot better run than previous events. Some events have typically had issues where maybe they didn't run as smoothly, or there was also the issue where if you're one of the lesser skilled players, then you would get knocked out early and there would be nothing for you to do. That's really their focus this year. If you are one of those players who does get knocked out, make sure you come and say, please make sure you come and say hi to us. Come and say hi to us over where we are casting. We are free to talk to you guys all day. But the tournament itself is going to run as a double elim, so 15 teams at the moment confirmed. Potentially, again, they've got room for 16 teams. It's going to be a double elimination bracket, so teams are going to be seeded based on approximate MMR. And that just basically, actually, tangentially, I saw an interesting statistic that Knoxville brought out when they were talking about fairness of tournament structure, because obviously the new the G League tournament structure where you have like that in a round the robin-y kind of knockout thing, if you will, within the groups, and then you kind of advance on. That kind of came out, and people were discussing whether or not that was fair or not. Knoxville actually did an interesting survey where they ran thousands of simulations based on tournaments, based on teams' ELO rankings and tournament structure. And the fairest one was basically the more games teams played, obviously the better teams come out at the top. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, but unfortunately, when you've got a best of one double elim, like, that isn't possible. But interestingly enough, he said if you tried to seed the teams, even if it's not fully correct, so you've got, even if your MMR seeding isn't actually perfect, you actually get a fairer result in the sense that the better teams are more likely to win if you do seed on that, which I think is kind of good as well, because there are obviously a couple of big name teams in this tournament, and we don't really want to see them clashing again right at the beginning of the tournament. I'm just refreshing the page to see if any more teams have signed up. No. Having a look at the teams now, there are, unfortunately, the bracket won't be up until Friday, so sign-ups close Thursday night. Bracket is open then on the Friday. Bracket will be put up then on the Friday, so you'll know exactly what's going on. I don't actually have player names here. I just have team names of, obviously, teams I know. We've got some of the people who've been here, I think, for almost every iteration. Spring Rolls on Tan, formerly FHRATP. Third, of course, in last tournament. They're going to be back. Ice Cold. Their dominance, may it resume. I hear they've recruited well for an even stronger team, if that's possible, in the off-season. Lord help us. Envy is playing again. That iteration of the squad. Obviously, we had an interview with Fury last night. You can check out the YouTube channel or just our Facebook page for that interview with Captain Sam Johnson. Bunch of other teams. QED's back. I think the Warriors of Warcraft teams played before. There's a whole bunch of teams, basically. Really excited for it. But certainly there is one, like, in terms of teams that are likely to win, I think you have to look at probably Ice Cold. Ice Cold comes this as favourites. So for those who don't know, not only did they win the last two tournaments, but they've also then gone out and recruited even better players. So they are odds-on favourites to win. I think there is no doubting that. But like I said, best of one double elim. Best of one double elim presents that opportunity for teams to get knocked out early. But I mean, when I come and cast these tournaments, I'm always looking for the underdog team, the team that you can really get on the back of. Maybe they make a run through the lower bracket. I remember Fury's team. I think maybe that was an old iteration of Envy in the second tournament. They got knocked down to the lower bracket early on in the piece, and they made this awesome run through. And that's what you can see from some of these teams. Because these teams have never played each other before, often teams haven't scrimmed, you're going to get cheese strats, you're going to get these one-off games where anything goes, anyone can pick what they want. Which makes it fun and exciting for us as people casting the event, because you do see a lot of awesome Dota, and there are some awesome prizes up for grabs as well. First place, I believe, is getting $250 cash. Second place, $150. Third place, $50. That's being supplemented by a whole heap of Dragon PC vouchers and some other cool stuff as well. So well worth your time to win the competition. Well worth your time just to enter, to be honest, because you pay, $50 a team, so $10 each to get actually into the competition. But when you actually get in there, it's kind of like the day itself, which is the super fun and the super cool part. Yes, welcome to all those watching in chats. Any thoughts? Anywhere I've gone wrong, please correct me. I am not the oracle be-all and end-all of this. The way, if people who haven't actually been to the LAN before, maybe this is your first time going to the LAN. You haven't been in this LAN environment before. You maybe haven't played with your team on a LAN before, I think the most important thing is to keep positive. Like, there are going to be a lot of ups and downs in the day, and that's taken. I mean, that's Dota. Like, everyone's played a pub. Everyone, I assume, who's playing tournaments played a pub game before, where it's just up and down. I mean, that's like literally it. Like, it is a roller coaster of emotions, and teams that can keep those emotions better in check typically do better. So if you are approaching a LAN for the first time, don't flame your teammates at the first possible opportunity, because unlike online, you can't just leave TeamSpeak. You can't just leave TeamSpeak and be like, nah, fuck you guys, I'm out, leave TeamSpeak. You have to put up with them for the entire day, and I think winning a LAN is as much diplomacy as it is skill. The ability for you guys to actually get on as a team, and often, I mean, you'll see this in the pro scene, teams who typically are more harmonious, they might not necessarily have the skill, but they have worked closely as a team, and they are super good as a team. They know each other's strengths, know each other's weaknesses, don't bite each other's heads off when the smallest thing goes wrong. Those kind of teams are the ones who I would be looking for to go further than expected in the tournament. I mean, it's probably unrealistic to say that those kind of teams might win, but certainly to advance further in the tournament, having a good team relationship on a day like that is perhaps maybe more important than the actual skill in a lot of situations. I know for a fact that Team Envy, they haven't played a scrim. They haven't played a scrim together once, and they're gonna go in completely off the bat. I know one of their players is now a League of Legends convert. Shout out to Twig, who co-casted with me last year, and also Tim Johnson, Sam's brother, who got married a couple of months ago, and I haven't seen him on Dota since. So, I mean, if you guys, and then you contrast that, I'm going to use some guys that I know that I've played with before, the QED guys, and I think that's where the contrast comes in. Here's a group of guys who've played together for a long time. They don't have perhaps the highest skill cap as some of the other teams competing in the tournament, but what they do is, it's going to sound eerie. I was going to use the word bond, but I don't feel like bond is like the appropriate word here. They have a synergy. Synergy is the word I'm looking for. They have a synergy between the teams, which is kind of unparalleled. Welcome into the chat, Fragenstein, #1 moderator. Will I be seeing you, Tim, grace the chat on Saturday for some memes? I know the QED lineup. Dre, you went to Burnside, like Thomas Hughes and Liam Oldershaw and all those guys, that QED. So I can't remember their names. It's like Quoth the Raven, Limonado, those kind of guys. And I've just got a word from my producer that he wants to move in. So for those of you who haven't watched much of Kai Studios before, Matt, Mr. Meister, he has been doing a bit of casting. He's been doing a bit of everything. You've been doing everything, man, haven't you, Matt?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm still not really sure exactly what I want to do, in the professional scene. I feel as time goes on, I'm less and less likely to be in Alliance. So
yeah,
I feel like I should probably move my talents or lack of elsewhere. And I've seemed to have found I'm trying out my camera work. It's going to be all about the camera work this weekend because I will be doing that. So when kills are missed, you can flame me in the chat, and I'd love to see it. So make sure you make a point of that. But yeah, a little bit of everywhere. But I did have a few thoughts about this weekend and how that's going to go. So
luckily you've come onto the show. You've certainly found the right place. It definitely would be difficult to put your thoughts out probably elsewhere about this coming weekend on the show, other than being here on the official preview show. Are you gonna correct me from where I'm wrong, or have you got some?
Oh no. No corrections to make. But I just wanted to highlight a few things that I think Winterlude Dota, this UC LAN, why I think this is going to be better or a really good experience for people to watch on Twitch, and also particularly for people who want to come down to where it is at the university and actually watch these teams in action. So we get right into it, shall I?
Go for it, mate. The floor is yours.
So I think one of the things that I'm really interested in is how teams react to each other. So while they're playing, one of the things about watching pro Dota is you can never hear what Alliance is saying to each other. You can't hear what LGD is saying to each other. You know,
I mean, not you'd be able to understand what like LGD would be saying to each other.
Oh yeah, actually that's a good point. Yeah, but they could have subtitles.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I take your point. I take your point.
Beautiful Dota, but yeah. So I really, you might remember I asked Fury a little while back when he was on Kai Time, which everyone should go and check out if it's still there.
I mean, you're watching now.
No, I mean the Sam interview. I asked him how does your team react to each other and who calls the shots and that sort of thing. At the UC LAN, granted, I think everyone's in the same room. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep. There's 16 teams in 2 rooms. So
right. So there might be if 2 teams are playing against each other, are they likely to be?
It's happened before. It's happened before.
Yeah.
Teams have been face to face, but for the most part, the teams are deliberately put in different rooms, so they are less likely to play against each other.
Right. So if that happens though, so if they're not in the same room, you can actually see how these teams, perhaps if they're a lot better than you, obviously there's people who are way better than me who are playing, and it's really interesting to see how they approach the games and what they say to each other, and how they react and things, and how they flame each other if they don't take Right Hunter's advice.
Yeah.
And they start getting
just
mad.
Don't flame. Awful idea. Awful idea.
But it's all very interesting. It's stuff can't see on Twitch, and it's stuff that you don't see anywhere else. But if you come down to the university and you come and see these teams in person, even for some of the day, you can see how these things happen. And conversely, if they are in the same room, you can see how the teams react to each other when emotions are running high. Maybe people shout, maybe they're cheering, maybe someone shouts, "Is this kid dead on my screen?"
Shout out to Dre in the chat.
Shout out to Dre. It's going to be interesting, and I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, I probably won't be seeing too much of it, doing the camera work and producing and stuff. But if anyone was coming down, that I think is something that would be really unique and really fun to watch. As opposed to if you're watching on Twitch, which I would also highly recommend, because how else are you going to put T2ers in the chat? So there's advantages to watching on Twitch, and there's advantages to coming down, and so I fully endorse people coming down to have a look.
I mean,
really.
If you want the best of both worlds, there is going to be an area where you can sit down and watch. There is going to be a live feed to the stream. I know in past years we've had issues with like Twitch having a natural delay if we're going to chuck it up on the projector, but we've kind of worked around those. Again, if we had like unlimited resources, we'd have audio mixers, video mixers, everything would be like professionally done, but we're kind of doing it as a little bit of a Bundy setup.
It will look professional though.
100%. I mean, we're all about professional, but we're doing it with limited resources. But I completely endorse that. Come on down, have a look. Again, should be really exciting. A lot of these teams, for me, so I'm going to give a bit of an anecdotal experience of the first UC LAN that I went to. This is the second one. And I casted during the day, but I might have casted maybe 7 or 8 games on that first day. And between that, I was going between and I was watching players play. And for me, I'm not 5k. I'm not 5k, 6k. I'm not this good player. I'm not 4K and be the top 1% of players, right? Dre in the chat. But what I did do was be able to sit behind players, and it isn't just player perspective. Like being able to watch someone's player perspective in the Dota client is one thing, but actually being able to stand behind someone and watch them kind of work and play Dota. It's an incredible experience. 100%. You should get down and check it out if you can. Come down and say hi. There's going to be a whole lot of cool things going on.
Quite apart from being able to see them, making plays and things, you can see how the players really react. You can see, you can see the veins sticking out. You can see the nipples getting harder, and during the rampages, it's going to be great. You can see it all.
Yeah,
it's all there. Shout outs to Jonna in the chat, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's actually one other thing. Sorry if I don't want to interrupt your anecdotal evidence.
No,
There was one other thing that I was wanting to say about how Winterlude is going to be different to other tournaments. And that is variety of heroes. Because you touched on it a little bit
100%.
earlier. Toby1 did a Ask Me Anything on Reddit a while back, like quite a while ago. I didn't have an account at that stage, so I didn't ask him. But I really wanted to know how he feels about casting, like if you think about the international and all the majors, how he feels about casting the same heroes all the time, right? So obviously the meta changes, and he's in the scene for a long time, so he does get an opportunity to cast everyone. But I think everyone gets a little bit worn out. TI3, Alchemist is picked every time. Friggin'
TI4, the same 10
Razor.
heroes are picked every time. XD.
Yeah, Razor is picked every time in TI4, and it does wear a bit thin. Winterlude Dota is not the international. It shouldn't try to be. It's a fun tournament. People are going to be playing their best. They'll be trying to get the sweet prizes, but as well as that, people are going to be playing what they're best at. And I think that a lot of the time, even if a hero is in the meta, you're not a Timbersaw player, or if someone else is, say, a Lino player, first and foremost, and you don't want to pick into that kind of heavy burst, then you might not be able to run that. You might run something else, and we're going to see huge variety compared to what we usually see. And these players are really good. They're good, very good players who will still be able to put on a hell of a show. But we might see some really good pocket picks that we don't usually see in the traditional professional scene, and that I think is going to make it a lot more fun. And it's not just you're going to get a barrage of Timbersaw and Terrorblade and all the rest of it. But I think we might see some pretty sweet, pocket pick heroes come out.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's going to be cool.
The most famous pocket pick of the UC land so far, was the Techies, the grand final first game Techies from Team Envy last year. That was honestly the most nuts thing I've ever seen, with someone like picking Techies in the grand final. But again, Fragenstein and Albert F. and Tan in the chat, pointing out that, I mean, you can't guarantee. I completely agree with the fact that there are going to be obviously different heroes. People are going to pick different heroes naturally, because in a best of one, like, you can generally cheese, and then you can also just get to play what you want. Like, there was one guy who I know is playing on Fury's team this year who just played like Magnus every game last year, and like they won like a whole bunch of games just him playing Magnus, a hero that wasn't necessarily meta at the time. But I think it's true that like there is a meta that is going to be developed in the tournament itself. It happens every tournament. Typically it's the top teams who do play a lot of games and do end up playing each other quite a few times that kind of develop these meta picks. I think you always have the similar heroes, like an AA always gets picked up because of its ability to counter things. Like, heroes that typically are picked to counter a specific thing, they're the ones that you see picked up time and time again. They might not be meta, but they get picked a lot. AA's a classic because you see all these push healing strats, pick an AA, or we might see a lot of Wyvern, like teams running push strats, you run a Wyvern, or any of these kind of heroes that innately counter something. You typically see them. You typically see them a lot more as well.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely see traditional hero picks. Don't get me wrong; it's not going to be like all non-standard heroes and least picked heroes and that sort of thing. But I think that there's got to be some teams, maybe lower down, maybe in the first initial games, sort of things. You might see just the kind of thing you don't usually see. Like, we might see some jungle bloodseekers, heaven forbid, or something like that.
Mushi does it. It's viable if Mushi does it.
Yeah. Where is Mushi these days? How's he doing?
I don't know, he's doing nothing. He's on a tier 2 SEA team, isn't he?
How about that then?
Yeah, well, hey, I would gladly take Mushi's individual mechanical skill, but I guess that's...
Absolutely.
But,
Absolutely.
Yeah, at the beginning of the tournament, again, this is probably for the benefit of the people who are coming in for the first time to the tournament, the benefit of, again, it's the benefit of picking heroes that you're stronger with relative than heroes that are supposedly strong in the meta. So definitely the first 3 or 4 rounds, you see a lot of comfort picks. People will run what they want to run. Also, it's a lot of the times people haven't played a lot of Dota together, and they literally get to land of the day, and someone goes, "What does everyone want to play?" And someone goes, "I want to play a Jungle Luna," and they go, "Sweet, we're gonna play Jungle Luna. Why not?"
I've heard that can work, although I think I'm not sure, but I think I've yet to see any quality evidence of it. I've heard it's good. Yeah.
And for those who are watching, we are going to be. For those who are interested in coming down, there are going to be a lot of interviews done with players and the like throughout the day, so make sure you come and hit us up if you're there and you're keen and you want to have a yarn. There is going to be like a scheduled lunch break, an hour-long lunch break, so make sure you come and see us then. We're going to be doing kind of an interviewee panel kind of thing. But yes, for sure. Have you seen the team lineups yet? Have you had the opportunity to kind of?
No, not especially. I've seen a lot of the team names. There's some great puns in there. Excuse me. But I haven't actually. So I haven't been to one of these before. This
Yeah,
is actually gonna be my
Matt.
first LAN,
Matt
which
is the
really
perfect
interesting.
example for those in chat who haven't been there before, thinking of coming down for the first time. Matt's never been to a UC LAN before.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not even sure why I wasn't there last year. I think that I was sort of just getting into Dota, and actually I just started playing with you and some of the others, and so I hadn't really thought about it. And I think you said to me at some point, "Oh, I'm going down to UC for the LAN or something," and I was, "Oh, that's pretty cool." But yeah, I never got a chance to go and actually do that, so I'm really looking forward to that. But it's gonna be interesting for sure, and. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what people have to say if we do get to talk to people during the hour-long lunch, see how people are enjoying the day and enjoying the games and predicting what's going to come ahead.
I do have to welcome into the show Explosive Fury, Sam Johnson, the captain of Team Envy, former winner, one of the very few people who can say they've actually won one of these LANs. Welcome into the show, Sam. Or not. He's just sitting there chilling.
Hello?
Oh,
Is
yes.
the mic working now?
Oh, we good.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
good. You're in.
There we go. What have I missed? I was playing a game and then I saw that you went live.
Yeah.
What's been happening?
Not much. We've just been kind of shooting the shit about the tournament, saying about how everyone's out to be ice cold, and their team may have just gotten stronger than it was last year.
It's been
And
flaming some team called Envy. I don't know what that's about.
some team called Envy who haven't scummed
They're
at
all
all.
terrible.
Just
terrible.
kind of the standard. We've talked about we've talked about how the tournament creates an individual meta and what heroes might they be. They're typically heroes that like counter like common strats that are run, like an AA or something like that. Just a bunch of shit, really.
Yeah. So some inside information about Ice Gold. They are almost definitely going to be weaker than last year.
Oh, they're gonna be weaker.
Ooh. Have you done some sabotage, Fury?
If only I could call it sabotage, but no. I would be happy visiting the strongest players I could. But some people may remember him as the Treant player from last year.
Yeah, everyone knows him as the fucking Treant player.
The 6K support that plays Abaddon, Treant, all the heroes that you hate versing is actually in Auckland for the
Ping Zero Land.
Auckland Ping Zero LAN.
Yeah.
So he won't be playing, and I believe one of their other players, Anarchy, is not in Christchurch at this moment.
Okay.
At the moment, so neither of them are going to be playing.
Playing in inferior lands. What an interesting strategy.
Yeah.
That's alright.
I mean, like I'm very much a fan of that. I know that Sam, at one point, you were looking at creating like a dream team for this tournament, and just like walking out with the prize pool. And I'm kind of glad you didn't, because I'm kind of glad you didn't, because like it certainly adds to the intrigue in the tournament. That like realistically, I think maybe 4 teams could win. Definitely 3 teams. I'm going to include, just because I've got half of Spring Rolls on Tan in chat, I'll include them in this as well.
Oh, I have been asked quickly in chat. Sorry to.
No. I see the question.
Chat has asked me if I want to break anyone's fingers in Auckland. Actually, there's this one guy. I can't remember exactly where he lives. This weird apartment building. A lot of like I don't know, richer people live there. I think his mum owns the area. like, or at least the apartment building he lives in. But I'd like to get at that guy. I could break his hand.
You just like to break his hand.
Yeah, he just pisses me off quite often, you know. But there's only one guy.
Fair enough.
And I mean, no one would care about him anyway, so that's all right. But just so that doesn't sound rude, that's actually explaining we're the person.
Oh right, okay. I mean, like,
was.
as long as you know where you're going with that, and you're not just trying to get mindless violence.
I'm sure he was implying himself anyway.
But again, for those who are watching and haven't necessarily been down before, been down to a LAN before, getting to stand behind someone like Sam playing is an experience within itself. Like I said, you can only get so much from like watching player perspective in Dota TV. Like, to actually stand behind them and see him like feed is something pretty phenomenal. Yo, so I want to have a quick bet. How many times are you going to get to play Invoker in the LAN? I honestly don't think you're going to get a single Invoker game.
16 teams, yeah?
Okay, so there's 16 teams.
It's best of ones.
And I'm going
to play... We get to play 4 games before the finals if we stay in the winner bracket. No, we get to play 3 games before the finals. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm going to say 1 Invoker game. I feel in the finals I'll get to play it.
You get to play it once.
I have a feeling that the team we verse in the finals is going to let it through.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of those things, like, we'll either crush the first game, like, they'll either let it through the first game, because they're like, oh, we can verse it, these other heroes are stronger, so they'll ban them out, then I'll pick it and beat them, and they'll ban it. Or we won't run it the first game because they ban it, and then we'll beat them with something else, and then they'll ban out that something else. So I'm gonna say 1.
Just the once. I honestly don't think you.
You don't see it happening once?
What? No, yeah, I said I honestly think like that Dre's 100% correct. Invoker Enigma first bans every game.
This is just it though. Like if we're banning like Invoker Enigma, let's just say that does happen. That's what I was saying earlier about, like, we're going to see maybe Ricky and maybe Beastmaster, typically first phase bans in the professional scene right now. They're going to get through, you know. So we are going to see a bit of variety, just because people have all these specific heroes good to them that they are very, very capable of running. And it's going to be interesting to see how it works out.
Yeah. So, I mean, one great thing about these Christchurch LANs is a lot of the players know each other. A lot of the players play very specific heroes as well. So, yes, I do agree. I think a lot of games, those Ricky, Beastmaster heroes are going to get through. But I have a feeling quite often, they're just not going to be picked at all. Yep. Like, especially players like my brother, it's like, right now, a lot of the core carries that are being played, he just doesn't play them. Like, he plays an amazing Nax.
I was about to say, doesn't he play Lifestealer?
But yeah. Other than that, yeah, he plays Nax. But other than that, all his carries just aren't in the meta. So it's like it's one of those things. It's like bans this tournament, I have a feeling, aren't going to make a huge difference. It's more going to be like the first 2 will be great. They'll be ban out a player sort of thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's going to be. Yeah. Other than that, it's just going to be the picks are going to be the big thing. I think making sure you have counters for the niche picks that every team has.
Yeah.
So you said that most of the Christchurch players tend to know each other. Are there any? I don't know if you've seen the team list, but are you aware of any teams that are playing that you don't know? Are there teams that you just have no idea? You don't know the MMR. You don't know what signature heroes they run. They could completely upset the whole tournament and just rise to the top and be new contenders for the following year.
To be fair, looking at the team list, I have no freaking idea. I know like 3 of the teams, but. Right. People change their team name all the time.
Sure.
Yeah. We don't have access. We don't have access.
On the day, I'll turn up and I'll recognize the players.
Yeah. But it might be interesting. There might be some new faces that even you don't know. Possibly not. I don't know. It's hard to say, but it could be interesting. We could see some unknown team up till now come and really give some of these players a run for their money. I kind of hope we do. Honestly, it goes back to what Zach was saying about the underdogs earlier. You know. I mean, I'm all for people doing well, but Yeah, I want to see some competitive Dota. Okay,
Yeah. Will be great.
Just having a look now at the teams that have entered. You have to enter your average MMR of the team. And there's one team who've just labelled themselves as over 5k, and that's Ice Cold, no real surprise. 3 teams are between the 4.5 to 5k bracket. That includes your team and Spring Rolls on Tan, Winterlude as well. And one team's labelled itself between 4 and 4.5, and that's Kimochi Boys. So, I feel that anyone, you don't even people at a lower level than that can still take games off the big teams, simply because it is this best of one, scenario where if you lose, then you go down and you're out. I don't know.
Yeah. See some Shaman Fury and people ratting us.
I was about to say
some 3k stack.
Fury, if you pick any of those heroes that you spam when you actually play, with your competitive team, if you pick any of those heroes, if you play a mid shaman, I'd just be so happy.
Oh, there's going to be a carry oracle. I'm banking on it. I'm banking.
Carry oracle.
Yeah, man. That right click damage. Hey.
What one game oracle, one game Venge, one game lion, and one game shaman.
Oh, I have seen you go
Sounds
to the blind before. It was spectacular.
Oh, did we? Oh, I don't even know if I win those games.
It was a pub game, obviously. But, yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I think we lost.
Classic. I think Lion Mid has actually got to be he's probably one of the strongest laners in the game.
Lion Mid's honestly, it's viable if you've got the right
mid
heroes
game.
again.
You don't do enough. You just don't do enough in the fights. You blow up one guy, and that's your whole job.
Well,
that's the big problem with Lion. It's you do amazing, in your lane, but when you get into the fights, you really expect more out of your mid player.
Yeah.
For those who have just tuned in and aren't sure what we're talking about, we are talking about the Winterlude Dota LAN happening this Saturday morning, or this entirety of the Saturday, starting Saturday morning, from the Kirkwood Village in UC. So I just did get confirmation of that. It's KD04, KD05, and a couple of other rooms as well. That'll all be up on the event page, so make sure you check that out. If you can't get down and make it in person, make sure you are watching here live, twitch.tv/Kai Studios if you're watching this on YouTube. We're going to open the broadcast with a replay of this. So that's going to happen at about 10 a.m. We're going to pop this up on the stream. And then 11 o'clock games start, so we'll get right into it. And we're expected probably to go to about 10 o'clock in the evening, maybe. It's going to be... Normally it ends pretty late, simply because you have to wait for teams to finish. Interesting rule this year. You've got an hour and 20 minute max, or an hour and 30 minute time limit on games. Which maybe might add something a bit different. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I understand why it's there. We did have a game. Only one game in the history of UC LAN's gone over that time, by the way. And you think about how many games we actually played at the tournament. There's probably been 150 games probably played throughout all of the LANs, and only one of them's gone over that time limit. So if you look at it like that, then it's not really too much. It's a kind of a worst case scenario sort of situation, and it gets resolved that it's a points based system based on hero kills, towers, and racks taken.
Is this meta typically about the late game anyway? We don't often see. I feel like we don't often see a super late game.
Oh no, but I mean
frequently. Do we?
That game particularly. I remember watching some of it. It was an Ember Spirit versus some other wave clear carry, and it was just this game's just not ending anytime soon. And I mean, it kind of messes up the entire day. That one game meant that everything started an hour. It pushed the entire schedule an hour back longer than it should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely... A lot of the heroes played are definitely strong enough to defend against Megas right now. Quite early as well. So you've got... I mean, heroes like the Terrorblade, it's easy to defend multiple lanes of racks, even from 20, 30 minutes. Yeah. So you could definitely see some huge comebacks happening, and possibly some really long games. I mean, I know in my mind, I've got a plan. Might end up
don't have to
getting
reveal it.
fully knocked out of the tournament, but
Yeah.
you
don't
know,
have to reveal it. Don't have to
maybe
reveal
just looking for at some point a I don't know, like a Naga Ember, just go really greedy, just have a bit of fun and try win with the 80-minute timeout thing.
Yeah.
Just to see how it works.
Yeah. Just be like,
It's like
but like
risky.
that's the thing. If you run that kind of strat, where it's like, so the way it works is it's done on like you get points based on like hero kills, and then a certain number of points for each tower taken and each rack's taken. If you run that crap, like you are just in danger of like not getting enough points and losing the game.
Or losing one team fight at like 80 minutes and losing anyway.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, it's something that could possibly be fun. Boring to watch, but fun to play.
Well, I mean, not necessarily boring to watch. If you have 2 lanes of racks down on each team, and there's like I don't know, 40 kills apiece.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a great game. Yeah.
The end of it always dulls off a bit though. You get to the stage where it's like, oh, don't have buyback. I'm gonna sit in base for 6 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just watch
Yep,
Naga
it's-
clear a quick wave, and
and
it
then
is
you-
clear a quick wave.
And then you
Honestly,
have another fight, and then there's a buyback, and then
It's the worst. It's the worst thing when you're a support. Like, well, in my opinion, anyway, because you can't really go out because everyone's got mega farm and you just die too quickly.
you don't do anything
And you
for half an
can't-
hour.
Yeah, you honestly just can't do that. Like, I mean, you can do a little bit here and there, but not really. I remember I think it was my longest ever game so far. It's on my Dota records and stuff. I was playing Rubik, and honest to God, I just had a crap game because I was with people much better than me, and I did nothing, and it was so boring. And then I stole a Marana arrow.
Yeah.
And I launched it just like from the high ground, just like whatever. Just I've got so much mana, I'm just gonna launch some. Go threw arrows out, cracked the Marana with it, led to a kill, and I think we lost the game in the end. But like honestly, it was the greatest 5 minutes. And my teammates were like, "I've never seen someone get more excited over an arrow." And I was like, "You'd be excited too if you'd done nothing for the last 25 minutes."
It's actually brilliant.
They're the hard ones. Yeah.
They are the harder ones.
Is there anything we haven't covered about the tournament though?
I'm
That we'd like to go over, Zach.
I'm just trying to think. I mean, I did a monologue for about 20 minutes and covered everything. So we're pretty much. There's not too much else to touch on. In terms of actual logistics, if you're watching and you're coming down, please have everything be there. Like, so doors open at 10. If you could, like, when they say doors open at 10, for the love of God, be there at 10. Holy. Because it only takes one. It only takes one issue with one player, a small issue with one player, and all of a sudden that game's delayed by like 10-15 minutes, and then it just snowballs like that. And there are rules this year, I think, around games starting late, but
Yeah.
I mean, like, you have to have some level of mercy, and I feel like if you turn up at 10 o'clock and then you're like your keyboard that you've used for your entire life stops working, then like. Maybe that's acceptable to kind of work around, I'm not sure. Also, if you're coming down, bring spare everything. If you've got something spare, like I've got like 2 spare mice, I'm bringing them both down. So if someone breaks a mouse, I've got 2 spare mice. I don't know. That's also just helpful as well. Logistically, I hope you guys.
Big thing is a power cord. If you have a spare power cord, I'm pretty sure last year there were like 2 people that forgot their power cord for their monitor
Sounds about right.
and had to go home.
That actually sounds
Well,
about
we
right.
can only hope that doesn't happen this year. I don't know. This is the 4th time, and I think many familiar faces are returning. So this is the 4th tournament, isn't it?
Technically the
yeah.
5th. Technically 5th, but
The
yes.
5th, sure. So, I think that like there's a lot of familiar faces. They know what's up. Like, hopefully we'll be able to get underway and get going. That'll be good. Otherwise, we'll be reduced to have, myself and Right Hunter going to be doing some improv. Playing some questions only, playing some other stuff. We'll be entertaining the teams who are currently there.
Yeah.
So, you can look forward to that.
Cool. Looks like I'm busting it improv again, boys. That sounds.
Sounds like the
viable.
plan.
That sounds viable.
I did also happen to notice on the website when you sign up, there's some like a red versus blue thing. So like mini games in between games.
It's
What is that all about?
I mentioned it earlier. It's kind of a because the issues they've had with previous LANs is that teams who aren't one of the top contenders get knocked out early. So it's a double elim, you lose 2 games, you're out. And so you've kind of moved all your PC stuff to a room, you've paid $10 as an entry fee, and then
you
2 games and you're
after
out.
now.
And it's just kind of just shitty. So what they've done is this red versus blue thing. It's kind of a way of... Because what happens sometimes that's really cool is that teams who've been knocked out will, like, just play against each other. Like, 5v5, just a random scrim, because they can and they're in that kind of environment. But the red versus blue thing is more like people who want to play mini games and that kind of stuff. It's another way of like making sure that people, it's more of an event rather than just a tournament. So people, when they go there, and they might not do so well in the tournament, but there's still some fun Dota stuff that is happening. And basically, it's like you get randomly assigned onto either a red team or a blue team, and then you'll play each other in a bunch of like mini games. It's like people might want to sign up and do it. People might not want to, but regardless, it's just another way of people. It's another outlet for people who want to do other Dota things on the day, but maybe have been knocked out of the tournament. They can. So
when you say mini games, do you mean the custom games that are in the client?
Games.
Oh, so I see some Dota Strikers.
I don't know. There's like a bunch of games. I think Pudge Wars is there as well. All those.
Nice. Oh, I do enjoy some of those games. Dota Strikers is so good.
You said you get randomly assigned to a team there. So is that each team will be randomly assigned to a red or blue?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not going to be me versus my brother in mini games when we get knocked out second round.
No, it's not. It's going to be you and your brother playing if you want. But then there's also like that isn't. You don't have to do it. It's kind of easy breezy. Like if you want to do it, the outlet's there. If you just want to scrim against other teams, if you just want to watch other people play, it's just another option. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff. But I mean, we are kind of coming to the end of this episode of Kai Time. This is an episode of Kai Time. Doesn't really feel like one. It's kind of like a Winterlude Dota preview. In terms of what's going to be happening between now and Saturday, I'm sure everyone in chat is going to be tweeting using the hashtag Winterlude Dota. Make sure you also tweet throughout the day as well. Featured tweets will be on the stream. You can get yourself up there. There's going to be a few more player interviews. I know Dre's in the chat. Dre and I have been wanting to do this player interview for the last few days. Hasn't really worked out our timing together. I'm sure we'll get there eventually. A bunch of more videos in the lead up to that. And then it all comes down to what's going to be happening on Saturday morning. So, any parting words from you guys?
Come along and watch.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
If you've watched this whole stream or majority of the stream and you're not hyped, dude, I don't know what to tell you because we're all hyped. It's gonna be goddamn good.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly looking forward to it so much. I'm gonna see some faces that some people I've talked to but have never actually seen in the flesh, which is actually just gonna be so good. For as far as the social thing goes, I mean us gamers, sometimes we struggle. Occasionally, some people do.
You kidding me, bro?
Well, hey, dude, I don't know.
Am I getting fucking flamed on my fucking talk show?
I've spent a lot of nights in front of my computer. Come down and see some faces and have a good time. It's gonna be awesome, and it's gonna be like good food and stuff, dude. Let's just do it. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Also, another quick thing. I mean, not trying to be like unmodest or whatever you call it, but I know I'm one of the good players at the LAN. So if you want any tips, I'm perfectly happy to help anyone. Like, if I'm playing, even if I'm in the middle of a game, like, unless it's an intense game, I can fucking talk to you while I'm playing.
Yeah.
And if you've got, like, a specific question, specific item build that you've been called out, like, in-game for, or something, I'm perfectly happy to help you. Perfectly happy to offer advice.
Yeah.
I legit talked to a guy recently who was telling me about the benefits of Blink Dagger on Anti-Mage. So if you want to ask Fury about Blink Dagger on Anti-Mage, I'm sure he's got a lot to say about it. I can vouch for Fury's coaching ability too. I've seen him coach Invokers, not mine because mine's trash, but I've seen him coach Invokers, and that's good. And just general advice, I've learned a great deal. So definitely do that. Take him up on that offer.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. This, of course, has been the Winterlude Dota preview show, Kai Time episode 7. My name's Ed Ride Hunter. The voices you have heard are Mr. Meister,
Yo.
Matt, who's going to be producing the events, he's going to be down there as well. Maybe you're a big Meister fanboy, you want to get down and see him in action. He's also going to be observing the tournament as well, so any T-Tours in the chat directed towards him.
Sure.
And the other voice you've heard, of course, is one of the players who is in one of the front-running teams for the tournament, Sam Johnson, Explosive Fury. Of course, you can make sure you like him on Facebook. I'm just going to put his link in the chat now for anyone who has not already liked the page. And make sure you like all of the Kai. If you haven't already liked Kai Studios on Facebook anywhere, make sure you do it. Should be a lot of fun. I will leave you with the LAN ad, and I believe I'm actually going to be streaming some pubs over at twitch.tv/RideHunterDota. Shameless plug. Join me there soon, guys. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.